Today we're going to be looking at the three sibilants, the three S's. And these are very special because they're to do with the gunas, which are aspects of the divine that bring about prakriti, bring about our creation that's all around us. And each one is to a different manifestation of that energy. So if we start at the very beginning, when everything was in the void, as to speak, everything was in an unmanifest state. And so there was a need for manifestation to come about. So that needed an energy. And this is the Rajasic energy that comes about. Rajas, we've heard that before. And then it plays out in creation. And then it dissolves back into the tamasic state. So tamas, you've heard that. Again, it's not a negative state. It's just where everything goes back to pralaya and is at rest, really. And then from that pralaya state, which is sattvic, that is the state of the divine being. And then the creation comes out. It's a cycle. So everything comes from the sat and then comes out in creation, carries out its action, and then goes back into the tamasic state, goes back into the sat again, the sattvic state. It's a cycle of these different manifestations of the self. And each sibilant is associated with a different one. So we've had the sat, which is the being, sattvika, lovely, where everything is at rest, everything's perfect and blissful, sattvika, unchanging, unmoving. And then we have the rajasika movement. And here we are, we go to a shh, a palatal shh. The previous one was just a dental sat, 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 sattva. And here we have the shh, rajasic movement. You can feel that movement flowing across the tongue, very different. So you just have to tune into these sounds and energies they create and how they feel in the mouth, because that will inform you and give you knowledge of the self. And the tamasic, the last one, is the cerebral. The tip of the tongue goes towards the roof of the mouth for the and again, very different quality to it. So you have to sound these yourself and do it in a quiet space and listen to them, feel them, and connect to them. And then you can take that knowledge back into the Sanskrit that we're going to be looking at. So here we have the sat, the sa here. It's all in the handout, so you needn't worry about anything. You can look it up afterwards and it might make a bit more sense. And that is sat, sad, and sat, sat. Asato ma sadgamaya. You might have heard that one. That's lovely. And here is the palatal, the rajasic. And here we have the different words here. Shanti. I think you'll all be very familiar with that. Shanti. Shanti again. Peace. As it says at the end of many sutras. Shanti. 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 And the purpose of those is to take you through the three realms back to source again, from the physical, subtle, and into the causal. And it's also to do with the physical, mental, and being states of a person. Peace. It's beautiful. And a similar variation of that is shantam. Shantam. Again, just still peace. And Shiva. Shiva. Shiva and Shakti. You might have heard again of that. Shiva is matter and Shakti is the energy. So Shiva cannot move without the Shakti. And again, Shakti is, to do with the Rajasic movement. And lastly, we have the cerebral. And this comes normally as half of it. I've given the examples here when they appear in a word sometimes, the downstroke is missing. For illustration, the sat is here because it needs articulation, but when it goes into a sentence or something, the downstroke will be missing, and that means a vowel is missing. Could be any vowel. And this gives the example. We've got the sh there, and this is Krishna, Krishna. And here you've got the cerebral na that we had with the nasicas, Krishna. And that is a very forceful, because all these three are the cerebrals, Krishna. And we have Vishnu, Vishnu, Vishnu. Again, a deity that's very much revered. So it's just sounding these yourself and hearing them and understanding them in a bit more depth. And so I have picked out some beautiful sutras that are very useful to repeat. And here we have Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Notice there's a hat on it, so it's longer, Ananda, and that is bliss. And this is a very famous sutra. We have the being here, the chit that we've dealt with in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, the chitta, that's the awareness. So the awareness is on the divine, the sat, and if that happens, as in deep meditation, Ananda arises. So it's a very useful one to chant at the beginning of your meditation to put you in the right frame of mind. Sat, Chit, Ananda. And here is another lovely one to remind us again of the oneness of everything. Shantam Shiva Advaitam. Again, we touched on Advaitam at the very beginning. That is non-dual. Dvai means two, in front means not. Advaitam is referring to the oneness of all. And again, this is our aim for unity of yoga, is Advaitam. Shiva in this case is used as auspiciousness, which encompasses so many things. And again, the Shantam, the peace. Shantam Shiva Advaitam. So I would encourage you to write these down and follow them, because we have getting towards the end of the actual alphabet now. And so you can start to put them together. Doesn't have to be huge amounts, just small amounts. You can put small bits together and make sense of them. But you do have to practice. There's no two ways about it, but make the practice joyful. And I have been getting great feedback from the course. There is a reluctance to practice, but when they do, they get all the benefits. And even health issues and mental issues have been improved by focusing on learning the vowels and which are swaras, and the consonants together, making the sound bites. That's exactly what we want. We don't want it too complicated. We're not going to learn the whole of the language or anything. We want these resonating in our being, vibrating and bringing all the benefits with it. So lastly, I had so hum. Again, it's the song of the breath. So hum, so hum, so hum. You would do it to your own rhythm, and you can do it silently. I am that. So do keep practicing and find the joy in the Sanskrit.